I dressed like I work for Kamala, and now I'm gonna deliver immigrants to her support.
You support?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a question for you. You see these three fine gentlemen over there? Support the border policy, you know?
Yeah.
They just came over, okay?
Right.
Illegally, no papers. We need a home.
Yeah. I don't know what.
You have one.
I know, but I live with a lot of people in my house.
Oh, that's fine. The more the merrier.
Yes.
Could you translate and tell them she said yes?
See.
Thank you.
So should we set them up in the front lawn or do you want us to set them up inside?
10.
Kidding, right? I didn't say yes.
I thought you did.
No, I said no.
Oh,
Sorry.
never mind. Is it okay if we just set a tent up right here for them though? That way it's not on your property, but it's just right in front.
And they could just use your bathroom maybe?
Amazing to see the double standards of the wealthy. It only becomes a burden, right, once you have to shoulder the weight. Welcome everyone, get ready to plug in and see what the Matrix has been up to. I'm ever so grateful to all of you tuning in. Now, let's go check it out. Can we verify the efficacy of these robot dogs? I did not realize they were actually being deployed now for commercial use. Can you imagine seeing someone walking one in a lead somewhere?
Right after they lost the election, Joe Biden is sending Israel 25 F-15 fighter jets worth $5.2 billion. And he's also sending Ukraine $6 billion in emergency military spending. This is all in the first couple days after Trump got elected, because Trump is ending the wars. So there'll be no more war in the Middle East and no more war with Ukraine and Russia. But Trump doesn't take office for 2 more months. So now Joe Biden, or really he's a puppet. So now the people who control Joe Biden are going to be pulling every little penny they can out of him. Look, it's only been a couple days since the election. They've already spent over $11 billion. So the war machine knows it only has 2 months to go. And sadly, it's going to be going on overdrive.
Trying to get that cash injection in before it's too late. 11 billion in 2 days is actually wild. Gotta wonder what kind of state they're gonna leave the world in before January 20th. Thank you to all of my channel members. Your support means everything, and it allows me to keep on delivering the content that you enjoy here on YouTube. If you're interested in joining my channel and discovering what other perks are available, click the link in the description below.
Does the president intend to pardon in administration officials or people that Trump has threatened with any sort of legal actions? He's got 74 days, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I know pardons is going to be a big part of the questions that I get here over the next several weeks and couple of months that we have. I don't have anything to share or any thought process on pardons. Once we have something to share, we certainly will share that.
Secondly, his son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
I saw a real funny comment saying that the biggest troll would be Trump pardoning Hunter and then enlisting Joe in his administration. I thought that was pretty funny, I'll be honest with you.
Jill Biden voting in all red was one thing. That was one thing. I wasn't gonna go all full tinfoil hat. But then I saw the smile, the absolute smile from President Joe Biden today at his press conference. This guy looked like he just hit the lottery. I haven't seen him smile like that since he put on the Trump hat. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they voted for Donald Trump, but I it's a non-zero chance, as they say. It's a non-zero chance. Because this man's on cloud 9, and she voted in a red pantsuit. It could have been blue.
Don't worry, not all the clips today are political. I just thought this was pretty interesting speculation, you know? There were rumors that he was being dosed up, and that's why he was behaving the way that he was. But to be fair, that speech that he gave was the most coherent I think I have seen him in a long time, at least from what our media show us here in the UK. Pretty intriguing, if nothing else.
Big food is literally poisoning you.
Government corruption, the USDA, the FDA, mass poisoning the American public. It's literally poisoning our kids.
Americans are are so sick today because of this. This is happening because of corruption at the level of the FDA, not regulating what's in these foods, Big Pharma, the USDA guidelines. And I am so happy that this conversation is finally happening right now. My mission is to make free educational content every single day that fights back against this and helps you lead a better, healthier life. And another huge part of my mission has become creating companies that give you and your family better options. This is why I created Lineage. Look at what we just made. This air-dried steak, I am so proud of this. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef sourced from the best cows that I've ever seen in the world in Australia, regeneratively raised. Compare this, red 40, oxidized rancid seed oils, processed grains, pesticides, to this, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, organic apple cider vinegar, and salt. That's all that's in here. This and foods like it are what you should be eating and what you should be feeding your kids, not this.
So yeah, this is why I eat organic food, and even then, I verify the authenticity of its organic certification. It will be interesting to see if the new government makes these proposals a reality. Either way, take the power in your own hands and grab food that isn't full of chemicals. Your body will thank you.
You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence and do not mention one question, something which you'll later rely in court.
This is the moment a GP is arrested for dressing up as a COVID nurse and poisoning his mum's partner in an elaborate plan to protect his mother's inheritance money. Thomas Kwan was obsessed by money and felt entitled to his mother's estate. Kwan forged an NHS letter, which he then sent to his mother's house addressed to Mr. O'Hara, inviting him for a booster jab. He then disguised himself as a community nurse, used fake number plates and checked into a hotel using a fake name. He followed through by going round to his mother's house and injecting her partner with poison. An expert from the Ministry of Defence believed he used iodimethane, a chemical used as a fumigate pesticide. This led to Mr. O'Hara getting a rare and life-threatening disease called necrotizing fasciitis. He survived, but only after specialists had removed large portions of flesh from his arms in repeated procedures. Mr. Kwan was jailed for 31 years. Make sure to drop a follow to stay up to date.
This story is actually awful, and this is just one instance that has been discovered. Think of all the unknown crimes that took place exploiting the circumstances of 2020 and 2021.
Something doesn't feel right about these 40 monkeys escaping the biolab. I feel like we're not being told something. It's at the Alpha Genesis Primate Research Center, Yamasi, and I feel like this is the start of some kind of science fiction movie or something bad, like some kind of, I don't know. They won't even tell us what kind of monkeys they are. They just say there's 40. I'm surprised there's not 41 or 42 or 39. There's 40 exactly. But doesn't it feel like the start of something like 28 Days Later or 12 Monkeys or maybe even that movie from 1995, Outbreak? I don't know, because they're from a biolab. So are they healthy, happy monkeys? Or is it going to turn into some kind of sci-fi future with it being a little bit like Outbreak? Maybe it's a good time to go back and watch this movie. Here's the synopsis. Let's hope this doesn't happen. Worst case, guys. Let's hope they catch those monkeys and everything's good. Peace.
Yeah, this is pretty bizarre. Feels like Planet of the Apes, right? Also, how the hell did so many of them get out? Do you think this was intentional? Gain of function springs to mind.
Yo, why is all of Hollywood and all the celebrities scared to talk about Diddy? Remember when I told you guys he was a gatekeeper? Not only do we see all these people aligning, trying to change popular opinion, who all happen to be on the Diddy guest list, but we have this guy following all these celebrities around, recording them, asking them about Diddy, and look how scared they get. I mean, this is literally absurd, y'all.
Hey man, how's everything going? Everything good. Is Hollywood gonna survive this Diddy thing? Like, we're worried.
What did P. Diddy do to all these people? And does that have anything to do with all the tapes they found? And the timing of P. Diddy's arrest and raid was nothing short of perfect coincidentally, but I was very happy to see that these celebrities don't really have the public pull they used to. People are finally starting to wake up to the realization that they're in a club, you're not, and they don't like you. And it shows by the mental illness they infuse in society to their music.
I'm doing great, but I'm a little worried about the music industry with this Diddy thing. Do you think...
The noose is tightening. Look at all the people who have said that they are going to leave the US now that Trump is in. The clock is ticking. As I said before, it'll be interesting to see how this movie ends. This was pretty clever, but joke aside, I think we're beginning to see the economy destabilize in a big way in a number of countries around the world. I mean, they've got to justify the digital currency somehow, right? And one step further, one global currency maybe. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Thank you all for your amazing support. Let's see if we can smash 1,800 likes again on today's video.
Celebrities are fleeing the United States ahead of Donald Trump's return to the White House. Numerous stars have swapped the US for the UK in recent months over fears for the political landscape, abortion rights, and violence. Johnny Depp packed up for the UK in search of a quiet life. He really feels London is a home. Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes have quit the US for the benefit of their children, while others, including Hugh Jackman and Renee Zellweger, are reportedly weighing up a relocation. Jackman recently headed to London to film his new movie, 3 Bags Full, a sheep detective movie. But according to New Idea, the Hollywood legend may make the move permanent. British star Sophie Turner told Harper's Bazaar last month that she realized she had to get the out of America due to gun violence and the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Saoirse Ronan, the Irish-American actress, has also been vocal about Trump's barbaric easing of restrictions on gun ownership, saying that she fears being shot in a cinema in the US. In 2022, Ozzy Osbourne announced plans to move back to the UK with his wife Sharon because he didn't want to die in crazy America. What are your thoughts?
We've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
So here we go again. It's pretty worrying for me, the thought of them all choosing to come here. That does not bode well for us here in the UK. I've got to get out of here. You know what, I actually plan on leaving the UK as soon as finances permit it.
These things, they sound like they can't be happening. Ted Gunnarson, respected law enforcement professional, recently or retired now from the FBI, former regional director of Los Angeles. Do you, sir, believe that these dreadful allegations of babies being sacrificed are true?
I absolutely believe it, without any doubt. Based on the information that's been given to me across the country by numerous survivors and by confidential sources and informants.
Then why didn't you name these people and arrest them? Never a name, never an arrest. These women come out of a group and they insist that they know the people in the group, and yet they do not identify these large, mysterious cults. Name them and arrest them and get them off the street.
Does he not make a valid point?
He makes a valid point. The problem with that is, number one, police officers don't believe it. I may believe it. You may believe it. Some people in your audience may believe it. They don't believe it. Number two, if you decide to investigate these people, you have to, number one, handle it from an undercover operation. If you put an undercover operation into effect, then you have, in a sense, your own police officers become involved in these heinous crimes, and they are, of course, become murderers. And in addition to that, if you do decide to investigate these people, there's a lot of work. And many law enforcement officers are apathetic and don't want to get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this.
Something that has been troubling me over the last week or so is the whole idea of evil. What is it? Like, truly, what is it? I personally don't think it's some devil, but the actions of some of these people, these groups, they have industrialized evil. So the only conclusion can be that it is to serve something. But why? What do they get from it? It's pretty harrowing to consider.
We're about to get into this. I felt like I woke up in the Twilight Zone today. First, we have a warning coming out from the FBI saying they are aware of the text messages that people are sending. I actually think that part's more disturbing about what they're saying, but they're talking about the hateful messages being sent from one person to another. So it sounds like many people are going to be arrested. And don't forget, as mansions burn down in California right now, the Epstein files will be released, the JFK files, and also the 9/11 files. And this is alleged, but it seems as if the Obamas are getting on a private plane to leave the country. We've also been seeing a ton of people step down randomly the last couple days, including ex-presidential nonprofits. Wow, this just happened. 3 people have been arrested for connections with Liam Payne's death. And a little bit more news on the monkeys that are loose here in South Carolina. They have not been tested because they're too young. So who knows what that means for us? And Tucker Carlson's making predictions that many are going to find themselves in jail and in prison very soon. Not only are all world conflicts seemingly coming to an end or searching for means of peace, but Bitcoin may hit 100,000, says CNBC. This guy is not even in office yet. And the craziest part of all is the Congress is saying on November 13th they will declassify and tell the whole truth about aliens. Come on, there's a reason for Space Force, as well as Elon's involvement. The next year is going to be the year of revelation and disclosure, and just wait till you hear what I have to tell you later.
Oof, look at all this, especially the text message thing. Feels like some of the things that we were experiencing here in the UK, and now it's starting to seep into other countries. To be honest, I think the UK was an experiment to see how people would react to that kind of thing. Also, the congressional hearing news is interesting. Pencil next Wednesday in your calendars, folks. Things are about to get interesting.
Bro, the Mandela effect continues to blow my mind. And why is it called the Mandela effect? Well, there was a paranormal researcher named Fiona who conceptualized the idea after she discovered that her, along with many other people, had a false memory that Mandela died while in prison. Some of these, I just... Remember this scene in Star Wars? Luke, I am your father. Yeah, that never happened. He never said that. Except he did. He did. Mirror, mirror on the wall? No, she never said that. It's magic mirror on the wall. Oh look, it's Mr. Monopoly Man. Except it isn't. He never had a monocle, except for the fact that he did. I know he did. Did you guys ever watch Pikachu growing up? This what you remember the tail looking like? Because that's what it is for me. Except apparently this is what it's always been. No black mark on the tail. You remember the movie Shazam where Sinbad played a genie? It doesn't exist. There's Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. I get it. It's just like, oh, maybe we're confusing the title of the name of the actor. Why do all of us think of Sinbad and Shazam? Explain that to me. That's a little bit random, okay? We Are the Champions by Queen. Do you remember how that song ends? It's we are the champions of the world. Except he never says that. Except he did. This is why many people think the Mandela effect is actually evidence that we live in a matrix or a simulation. I don't care who you are. I do not care who you are. You will never convince me that that wasn't the original logo. Because it's ingrained in here.
I find the Mandela effect to be something of utmost curiosity. It's fascinating. I know for myself that I remember some of these things in the way that they apparently never were. There are a lot of theories, but I feel like there is something more to this. Let me know which one of those, or if any others, are something that you are sure has changed. The We Are the Champions one was new to me, and I was convinced it ended in Of the World. I actually went and looked it up after seeing this clip. Bizarre. It was never in there, apparently. Thank you so much to everyone who's been hitting that sub button. So many of you, though, are still searching or waiting for the algorithm to actually deliver this content to you. You can do yourself and I a huge favor and hit the sub button now to unlock easy mode and become a part of the Awoken family. Cheers.
I've been using AI to try and solve the mystery of the pyramids. It's got some great ideas on terraforming, particularly moisture accumulation. It says they could create small thermal updrafts by their shape that could pull moisture from the air. This would induce rainfall that leads to vegetation. How would it do this? Kinda right, mountains do this all the time. These are lenticular clouds. You can see them over any big peak. You can see this on Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount Fuji. They all do the same thing. Watching a time lapse of this will blow your mind. It happens because air gets redirected, affecting the layers of moist and dry air. That forms a cloud which could potentially bring rain in certain conditions. You can illustrate this by using a soap bubble on a speaker. The reflection of the soap is our cloud, and the disturbance of the speaker cone can create the shapes that we see in the lenticular clouds. If you know what you're doing with the disturbances, you can even create little eddies, little mini tornadoes of focused disturbance. Disturbances in the fluid flow of the air on the planet are why we have climate in the first place. Circulation of hot and cold air is the only reason we have seasons and a stable climate. The ocean also works this way. It's not intentional, it probably did have that effect. What could be intentional is water channeling and irrigation. Could be a part of a larger network of structures intended to manage groundwater, moving the water to create fertile land. This one got me because most ancient buildings are above or interact with water of some sort. There's even a theory that the Pyramid of Djoser was built using the water canals underneath it. Djoser, Kokher, Bekong, Chichen Itza, they're all step pyramids above water. Step pyramids inverted are step wells. Step wells are intentionally designed to move water. There are miles of underground tunnels underneath Giza that was once connected to the Nile. The water pump theory makes a lot of sense considering the Nile flooded pretty frequently. That would allow them to grow crops during the dry season. Other places like the Osirian also incorporate water into the design of the temple. We know the Sahara was green during the time of the pyramids. Could that system have been keeping it green? Love the flow of AI because the next point is carbon regulation. And you do that with plants, which is going to need a part 3. It's a race against the clock, but maybe AI can tell us where we came from and how we got here before it decides we can't handle it and harvest our energy for another matrix that we're plugged into. We'll see.
This is so fascinating. Something interesting that does relate to the pyramid energy generator we saw in yesterday's video. I looked into the pattern and I reviewed the schematic and instructions. And what my research showed is that it is actually possible to generate a current from the ionosphere, as long as the device is grounded by, 5 to 7 feet deep. And the antenna has to be at least 80 meters high. Now, what's interesting is that the Great Pyramid is 137 meters tall, so well within the range, and is obviously very well grounded. Compelling stuff.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Nope. Beg to differ. It was a great night for people that voted for him, and it's been a great week, and it's going to be a great 4 years. But I just have to call out Jimmy Kimmel. We should have put together a compilation. Do you understand how much this man cries on demand? You know, it was a terrible night for his wife. You know how embarrassing it is just see a grown man cry over Ukraine? He lost it on Ukraine. You think that he has ever stood up there and cried about the gas prices or like the grocery prices, or cried on behalf of the Americans, people that are working with their hands and literally paycheck to paycheck, because Zelensky's wife needs to go on another shopping spree in Paris, which is what she has done? I mean, there have been articles about the corruption of where our money is going. It can't even be audited. We're just turning a bunch of Ukrainians into oligarchs. They purchased, this is a fact, they have purchased so many yachts. You should have seen the amount of Ukrainians that were rolling up in yachts when I was on vacation in St. Tropez. I was not on a yacht. I was just walking the harbor, and there was just a bunch of Ukrainians. Like, it's so insulting. And he's up there crying to keep it going, because what is he? He's a fraud. He is a guard for the establishment. His job is to just propagandize, not to understand, right? But to be angry when people take a stand against the deep state, because he's a part of the deep state. And I don't know how he went from a person who was once on the Man Show, and if you want to talk about misogyny and sexism, we should go find some old clips of Jimmy Kimmel.
Workouts are easier when you have a partner. My workout partner is my maid, Marguerite.
Why they call it diabetes? That get people all riled up.
To this sad, pathetic excuse of a crybaby man. Man up, Jimmy Kimmel. Put some hair on your chest. You are so embarrassing. I just can't watch this man cry anymore. It's just making me sad on behalf of his wife. It's making me angry on behalf of his wife.
I cannot stand these talk show hosts. They're all so disingenuous. How anyone can take their fake insight into anything is honest, I have no idea. Also, the fake crying is just gross. I don't know how people fall for this trash. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do drop a like on it and hit that sub button to help the channel out. If you want to take things one step further, please share it on your social media, as it will help, us expand the reach of our Awoken family. But for now, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.
All reactions in these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Any advice given should be treated as entertainment as well. Viewers are responsible for conducting their own research into any subjects discussed in the videos before taking any action based on the information provided.